Welcome to Film Study, an All American Universe podcast with Lexi. I'm Lexi. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, rate the podcast 5 stars, all that great, awesome stuff. Here are me and Stephanie talking about the second part of episode 518 of All American. This is how you do it, where we get into that crazy, wild, sexy, right? It's Bolivia dance, and we talk about Jordan and Layla's bit of it, but also Liv and as she's figuring out what to do for college. So yeah, here it is. Hope you enjoy it. Check it out. I need to move on to people that I love. Two couples that I love. The first couple, Jordan and Layla. They're
Aww,
just cute. They're just adorable.
just two little cuties.
Jordan, you have a cold, not Ebola. I need them to be for real with that line.
That was hilarious. I was like,
It's so
stop.
funny.
I just immediately, when she said that, I was like, yep, talking about man-child right now. Just can't take sickness. The world is coming to an end.
No, I'm gonna say this. Layla and Jordan took that in sickness and in health line real seriously without having said those
Oh,
vows.
absolutely. Especially when she like kissed him, she's like, I'll take my chances. Like,
Exactly. Uh, Honestly, can I say that line was one of the funniest lines. It felt so much like a romantic comedy movie
yeah.
line when Jordan said, "You don't want what I got, lady."
He's just so funny. And he's like, and that's his bit right now, right? That he's just really trying to
Yeah.
prove that he's funny, but he's like actually funny.
Yeah, he is really funny. He is really funny. And so anyway, again, she was like helping take care of him, right? He wanted the vitamin C gummies, right? And she did not. She got him cough syrup
Ugh.
because he's 19. Uh which cough syrup is disgusting. So
Yeah, I
I
like the
actually am with
gummies.
him on
I
that.
understand.
I like the gummies. I, would eat the gummies when I was a kid. I do have like the regular vitamin C now, just the tablets, not the cough syrup though.
What vitamin C do we have? I think we do emergency.
Mm. That's a nice middle ground. I
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
a
I like
little
that.
bit of both, you know.
It's a little bit of
We
both. It's
like
a little
it.
bit of both. Maybe that's the next episode they'll be drinking some
I
emergency.
think so. We like it. We like it shaken though, you know. It has to be cold. It
Yeah,
has to be cold.
exactly.
Because warm
Exactly.
emergency,
Um
ugh.
Disgusting. I'm with you on that. Uh but we, as we mentioned before, they sort of talked to Asher. And I already mentioned sort of what they said to Asher separately and together, but through their conversation with Asher, I think that you can tell the growth of things that they've learned individually and in their relationship, in terms of independence, in terms of like what Jamie might be drawing from. Obviously, Layla's a very independent woman,
Very
and
independent for her age.
she
How old is
she
she
has
again?
learned a lot. Huh? How old
How
is
old is
she?
she again?
19.
19 going on. Oh my god.
Freaking 40.
Yes. So much
Except
life
around
lived.
Jordan. Except around Jordan. Which is so interesting because, again, you see that she's actually, again, taken what she's learned in her relationship with Jordan as far as like learning to be vulnerable and learning to depend upon somebody. Um and like vice versa with Jordan, like, oh, these are the things that you love about her. But also like Jordan, like they made a joke of it in this episode, but like you need to grow up a little bit. So
Yeah.
talking about some guppies. And they did it in a cute way
Yeah, they
because
did.
obviously, to your point, Layla ends up getting sick because she kissed Jordan. Oh my gosh. Kissed him on the mouth. Like, you could have kissed him on the forehead, but she was like,
Now
no,
she's like, I'm
I'm
going
gonna
for it.
kiss you. I'm going for it.
Fully committed.
Got sick. Her own fault. Got sick, and then he's taking care of her with the airplane, and it's the whole thing where he gives her the
I thought that
guppies.
was so cute. And then he like
It
booped
was
her.
so cute.
Or no,
And
he didn't boop her.
the boop.
He like patted her
No,
chin.
he did. He did. He booped her. He did the chin and he did the he did the nose.
I thought the chin boop was so cute.
It was so cute. Also, the lines, right, when he did
Yes.
the airplane with the gummies, she said, synthetic sugar brings out the
I was
flavor
like,
in
what
the
the
soup. And
hell?
I was like, I need the writers to be for real. But it's like, those are the lines that it's like, it's just weird enough and specific enough to make sense.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like somebody would actually
No,
say this in real life.
yeah, absolutely. Like I think about that stuff now, where I'm like, ooh, I'm like,
What's a good
right.
combination?
I'm like, my tummy doesn't feel good. Ah, after like a night of drinking, what's gonna solve that?
Yeah,
McDonald's, because I know that I need that little grease in me. You know those little,
exactly.
the little things that you're like,
It's the little things that go good together. It's
exactly.
good
It's just a
together.
little good combo. So I see where they were going with that.
Good combo since the best combo since Jordan and Pippen, according to Jordan.
Yes.
And then he says, another good pair is Jordan and Layla.
That was a cute little insert.
And then she says, "Don't talk sexy to me." I'm like, "Ma'am, what was sexy about that?"
She sounded like she was definitely 40 right there.
Literally. So anyway, then they just talk about, he tells her that like Asher and Jamie uh, made up and that she's moving in and that their advice worked and that their couple goals. And then she sneezes all over him, and he's like, "It's okay."
I have
He
antibodies.
smiles at her first. Exactly, he has antibodies, and he's also like smiling as she's sneezing. I need them to be for real. Talking about don't talk sexy to me, smiling at her sneezing. Like you two need to get a room. I need you to get a room ASAP. It's too much cuteness. It's
It's
too
too
much cuteness.
cute.
And then lastly, Liv and GAU before we get to Spilivia, my other favorite couple. Um,
Oh,
That girl was so unserious for hating on Jaden Davis. Like, what
absolutely.
is your
Such
problem?
a
Like, she's just trying
hater.
to sign up. Even before she found out, she was like, "What are you doing?" Like, ma'am, you need to calm down. You have one little sign up sheet,
Like you're just a club. Yeah, you're nothing
literally
special.
just a club. And you know what's so funny though? Because I'm like thinking back to college, and I'm like, that is so indicative of how people act in like those positions of authority.
Oh,
One of the
absolutely.
things that bugged me to no end working with student leaders in college was the fact that they like had this idea that college was life. Like because it was so all consuming at the time,
The
it was
best
like
time of our lives.
nothing is more important than this time right now, and it was they couldn't see sort of beyond the 4 years, and I was just like, I can't wait until they get out of these walls and this campus and realize that there's life to be lived
OMG, I was one of
post
those
college.
people.
Like
I really was. I was one of
I
those
was like,
people.
student activities board is not the end all be all of life, honey. Like you're gonna have this position for 2 years. It's not gonna last your whole entire life.
I legit thought
And that's
softball
that
was
girl
life.
acted.
I thought softball was life.
See, but I feel like athletics is a different thing than like just straight. You're like, no, it's not.
Yeah, especially when you're a non revenue generating sport, and you're
Not you calling out your own sport.
also you can't really go professional. I mean, you can now. There are starting to be, um, you know, professional softball leagues. So that is definitely happening, but like, not like you can't like live it up like the guys. So,
Yeah.
but I thought softball was life. And I was like, once that rug got pulled from under me and I got to see the rest of the world outside of that, I was like, holy buckets. There's lots to do. So much passion, that's what it is.
Yeah, that like frame of mind, that period of thinking is just really
But
fun.
then you also understand why people also stay like engaged with their sororities and like still
Yeah.
believe that like their sorority is like is them, right? Like I have a coworker, um, or we have a coworker that still like really talks about sorority stuff, and I'm like, but I also have another mentor that also gives back to our sorority, and I'm like, what is it about it that like has you hooked?
It's a bond, it's the values. You're absolutely correct. And it is like there's sororities go deep, man. Sororities go deep. But so they did not invite her because, they know people on the football team and
They were like,
blah
hell
blah blah. And
no.
it's like somebody said, and I agree with this, like stop, like Liv got rid of a bad coach. Like I need these students to be for real.
Exactly. Like it's not the end of the world. Like a
It's
bowl
not the end of the
game. Like
world.
just go to another bowl game. There's probably gonna be a bowl
Exactly.
game in LA if it's not GAU. Like let's look at the
Right.
better odds. Anywho.
That part. Um but she ends up going to the Black Student Union, who's having a West African fashion show. Runs into Davita, who we know, who we love. Uh, Now we love her. There was some. I'd say the jury was out last season on Davita, but now we love her. Um, and it's so interesting because it's like there were so many lines in this episode that I loved. One of the lines that I did not love was everything about her is sus. I said, ugh, it's giving cringe to use a common TikTok word now. It's giving me the ick.
They're trying to be cool and hip, yo.
That literally sounded like somebody trying to be cool and hip, and it did not like it. But Davita invites her, and Liv offers to help. Liv then invites Kia, which I love. Kia, number one, I want to see her more on the show, but also as a person that like looks deeply into the context that they gave us. What is Kia doing here? Isn't she supposed to be in Texas and or Georgia? Um, at college, like spring break is over.
She's like, nah, I'm just back home. I'm just chilling.
And it doesn't make any sense because she literally was just back for the first time in like an entire season. Did not mention Liv at all, and now I'm just like, now she's like, oh yeah, let's just go say hi to
I'm
Liv.
seeing a pattern here where they just kind of drop some bombshells on us and expect us to be okay.
Yeah, I'm just like, I just needed a little bit more. Like, even if they had not written her being at college, like outside of California, and they said that she went to a college in California, I would buy her just sort of dropping in to live like this. But because it's like, you literally said that she goes to a college out of state. So how is she all of a sudden back? And the last time she was back, she only talked to Spencer. So it just,
Yeah.
those little details.
Interesting,
I just
interesting.
need them to be a little bit tighter, a little bit tighter. Um, but anyway, Liv then runs into Spencer, and she talks to him about the clubs not accepting her, and he's just like really supportive of her to that end. And he is like asking how he can help, maybe with the fashion show. So she was like, "Oh, unless you know some male models," and he did, and that was obviously, as we mentioned, his idea to sort of get the kill two birds with one
Mm-hmm.
stone and get the football team to get back together and like have good team camaraderie, which they did. He ends up volunteering the team for the dance in the fashion show. Tells him that it's a lingerie show because the only fashion show that he's been to on college was at was at Brixton, which was a lingerie show. This was not a lingerie show. Um, and Spencer and Liv, first of all, they have the cute little hug, as the team is getting back together, and they're just like, "Oh, we'll stay." When the girls walk in with their
Mm-hmm.
outfits, and they're like, "Oh yeah,
They're
okay,
like,
we
oh,
finna stay."
heck yeah.
Yeah. So they have that cute little hug, and you see the hints of what is to come later on in the episode. Um, First of all, that flu, this is one of the most consistent things that they've dropped as far as mentioning that flu that Jordan had that
Mm-hmm.
Layla got. Like they mentioned that flu so many
They
times
picked on a
in this
lot.
episode. I was kind of impressed, I'm not gonna lie, because usually they just have, they contain it to one specific storyline, but that did not happen this time. So anyway, shout out to the writers for keeping that consistent. But the funny line was, the people in the broom closet climaxed early.
I thought that was hilarious.
It was so funny. It was such a well placed joke. And the timing, like shout out to Brittany who plays Davita. The timing was like chef's kiss on that line delivery. Um, all that leads to Spencer and Liv dancing in the finale
Oof.
together. Um, that dance to Thames
Oh my God.
come through song budget. We've been wanting. The dance was amazing. The dance was
It
amazing. I think
was
that
it
I
was a little hot. Not gonna lie.
it was it was, and I think I read that, like, obviously it was in the show world. It was about the fashion show itself, and that was a choreographed dance for the fashion show. But the actual choreography that they ended up doing was to represent Spencer and Olivia,
I totally felt that.
and represented it did.
Oh,
Represent them it did.
absolutely they did.
And Alicia was in the audience watching.
Oh,
Um,
I was like, shit, I forgot she was there.
can I say I was in a scene that got cut, um, that gave added context to the Spencer and to the Spencer and Alicia relationship.
Ooh.
And so with that added context, I was like, this makes it much worse. Like, we saw, honestly, the final cut was easier on her because of, like, if they cut that scene, I can't even imagine other scenes that they had filmed for this episode too that were just like piling on this girl.
They really did a number on her for sure. They're like,
They did.
alright, see you later.
They did. So that was just really really funny. But to see Alicia witness what she's been witnessing since she first came into Spencer's life, like,
Exactly. Like she knew this coming in.
knew this coming in. So obviously they have that dance, they have that moment. Liv did not let go of Spencer's chest. Like, it was very clear that they had a connection with the dance. Spencer said you were amazing, and Liv sort of tries to, oh, we were all amazing when Kia and Davita come around.
Did you
And then she's
notice?
talking about,
Did you notice how smooth it was that Spencer said like you were amazing? Like if he had been
yeah,
telling it to her this entire time.
that, yes,
I, I
yes.
was
And I have
like
thoughts on that.
I was like, "Oh my goodness. It's over."
That it's over. We been knew it was over a long time ago. I don't know why they were playing, but Kia and Davita come over. Kia says that she needed this, and I say, yeah, because shouldn't you be at school anyway? So anyway, she says she needed this, runs off. Liv says she does too, and that she's thinking about applying to GAU's BSU, the Black Student Union Cultural Exchange, and that maybe she'll land in New York or the South or something. And I'm like, please, why didn't they give her the name of a state? Like, what?
Yeah, I was
Just
like
the
the
South?
South? Okay.
That
Want
was
to be a
so
little more
random.
specific?
Please, the South or something.
Sounded very cultural though.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna insert the gif of Spencer in the dance, like crumping and Olivia stopping him. Like, I need to send you that gif.
Oh, please do. Please do.
So anyway, we all know that. So she decides, like, she's really gonna give, the college life a tribe, right? Like she told Layla and Coop in the beginning, and really sort of expand her horizons to understanding, like, everything the college has to offer, which I think is good for her. She needs, like, she's been, we talked about Layla earlier, but like 19 going on 40, like
Exactly. Like they already lived a
doing these
life.
award winning
Like they lived a life before they've
Live a
lived
life, girl.
their
They've lived
life.
like 20,000 lives at this point.
Like I'm just like, what? Like you're a studio producer, record making lady, plus a journalist that works at
An
like
award and award
award
winning
winning.
journalist that like
Like what?
exposed an
Yeah.
entire football program. Like I'm thinking GAU in this world is supposed to be akin to like UCLA, USC. Like
Yes. Yeah.
come on.
Like so prestigious.
So yeah, I just need them to take a chill pill. Eat
Yeah.
eat your little vitamin C gummies.
Yes.
Go on your little cultural exchange
To the south.
to the south or something.
Or New York. It was like New York or the
Or New
south.
York.
Okay. Like, cause your dude
I
exchange.
really thought she was gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I could go to Ghana." No, not even like a country in Africa
The
or
south.
something. Like I should visit West Africa. What? He's talking about some New York or the South. Um,
Oh
I can
man.
visit Algeria. I can visit Morocco. Like I need you to. I need you to be for real, live. Um, we're going in on her, but it's because we love her so much. Um, so that all happens, and then very happy, very proud of her for stepping into what it means to just slow down a bit and take time for herself and explore the college experience.
Yeah. Live 2.0.
Live 2.0. But the thing that we've all been waiting for is, thank God it took so long, but here we are. Alicia is packing up.
Boom, boom, boom.
So, first thing Spencer says is, "Oh, I guess Jamie moved in." Okay. And then talks about, "Oh, you took off pretty quickly after the dance."
Like you know what you did.
Exactly. Don't piss me off, Spencer. He pissed me off so bad.
Like don't act dumb.
And then literally, and Alicia had been there too long, and she was just like, "Yeah, I finally saw blah blah blah," and he says, "Yo, yeah, I was gonna say that we needed to talk," and I'm like,
uh.
ugh, my God, this man and this woman, like
So
they're like, getting on my
frustrating.
nerves. So frustrated. Um, and then she's just like, "Yeah, that dance with Olivia was loud and clear.
Huh?
And I'm just glad you're not denying it anymore." Like, number one, I'm glad you're not denying it anymore. So you knew.
Like you're
You
welcome?
knew. Exactly.
Like were you just in this to teach him a lesson or like what? You want to get like a
You
little
wanted to hurt yourself again. Like, you
right?
literally put yourself in the exact same position. Willingly.
Like what? Come on. You want a trophy or something?
You want a trophy.
I got a medal. A
Literally,
medal from Vegas. Maybe we can
the
give her
victim,
that one.
the victimization Olympics. Like, I made a clown out of myself. Yay! like
Oh
I
my
need her to
gosh.
be for real, because she was a clown.
She
But she
did
says
it to herself. She clowned herself.
she did it to herself. She did it to herself. "I'm glad you're not denying it anymore. In all fairness, you did make it clear that you weren't over her when we met." And then Spencer saying, "Don't let me off the hook."
I was like, boy, please stop. Just like cut it
Exactly. Like,
out.
who is letting you off the hook? And she said, "Oh, I'm not. Oh, I'm not letting you off the hook." Here's the thing. What bothers me about this is that I feel like the writers wrote that in to acknowledge that they often do let Spencer off the hook. But by them writing that in to acknowledge that they do let Spencer off the hook a lot, they also in turn let him off the hook.
Yes.
Because all she said to this man was, You could have handled this a lot better. No, give me the teen drama of old. Slap this man across his.
Exactly. Throw a tantrum, do something. Like, come
She
on. No,
really
I'm just gonna
just
walk
said,
away.
"Oh, I'm not. You could have handled this a lot better. I deserve better." Okay, I need some
Then
hands to be
fight.
thrown.
Fight. You deserve better. Fight, fight, fight.
Where's the parent trap? You threw a hair dryer at my hair. She threw this at my head. Like, we need that sort of energy. I just watched that the other day.
Nice. Such a good one.
But like, it's things like that. And then she said, "But I'm gonna take responsibility for my own blindness." And I'm like, "You need to, because you were tripping. Because you should have." And here's the thing about this: the fact that Alicia tripled down on a guy that she knew from the jump. Like, she, first of all, she overheard him at the how they met was she overheard him talking about not being over Olivia
Mm-hmm.
as his mother was picking out a wedding dress. Like, number one, your ears are too pinned anyway. Shouldn't be listening in on their conversation.
Exactly.
Number two, you got into a relationship with this man who was very clearly getting out of something serious. And then over time, you've realized how serious it is. Like, how involved they are, how connected they are. Like, her father, who just died, was this man's coach and father figure. Like, how much more involved
Yeah.
can you get? And, her brother, her twin brother, is his best friend. Like, I mean, that number one. So doubling, tripling down, especially given the fact that she's been in this situation before with like someone that she, was in a relationship with, and she sort of got the short end of the stick, and got hurt from that.
Mm-hmm.
And then to realize that she had so many opportunities, because she told him, like, right, like, if this is something with Liv, like, I need to know now. How many times did she say that over the course
Oh,
of their
too many.
relationship?
I
So many
I feel
times.
like this is the whole like shame on me, shame on you thing, but they're just not
It
saying it
is
at all. They're just going in a little bit of a
that.
circle.
It's literally like, fool me once,
Yes.
fool me twice. You can't
Yes.
get fooled again. You
Yes.
can't get fooled again. And so that's her end of it. And
Mhm.
for his end of it, I think, you know, he also tripled down on it, knowing that his heart was with somebody else. Like, I can't give it all to her just being a clown, even though she
Yeah.
was one, because I think specifically about the moment, it was either episode 8 or 9, it was around that time, when he saw Liv with Noah. I
Mhm.
want to say it was 9. He saw Liv with, but it was 8 and 9, sort of in that packet, and he knew that he felt uncomfortable with Liv and Noah and seeing them together. And, when he had the chance to sort of make a clean break and say, I thought it was that conversation that they had. Like, I thought we weren't serious. I thought we were just having fun and blah, 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 blah. And she was just like, well, now I realized, like, I do have feelings. And he was going to be like, oh, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
Mhm.
And so they actually broke it off. For real. They broke it off. Uh, and then after seeing Live with Noah, he was like jealous
He's
of
like, oh
Noah.
heck no.
And then he decided to get into a relationship again with Alicia and like move it forward, and said, it's not. And she was just like, well, what about Liv? And he was just like, oh no, I realized that I actually don't fit. And he just lied like to her face after she asked him about it.
It is insane.
Insane. And then, I have so many thoughts just about how their if we could call it their second breakup happened, because watching it in real time, like as it's airing, I did not think that she broke up with him. I When the grief episode happened, when he was like hiding from his grief, I thought that
Mm.
she was telling him like, you know, basically come to me when you're like when you're ready, and I'm not gonna like push you, I'm not gonna push you, as you know, you're dealing with this man that you just lost, you're dealing with that loss. And then the next episode it was just like, oh, she broke up with me, and then she was like, oh yeah, we broke up, and I'm like, that's not what happened, but okay.
Oh, the confusion.
But because they said that they did break up, it's like he chose twice, like three times essentially, to get back into a relationship with her, knowing that he did not have the same feelings for her as she did for him, and knowing that he was still in love with Olivia. And simultaneously, like, he and Olivia never had that conversation after she told him that she was still in love with him. So this whole triangle, if you could call it that,
Yeah.
has bothered me to no end, because it's like, what are we doing? Like, why, to Spencer's point, what are we doing? To Spencer and Alicia's point, like, he's always felt this way. So why has he been in this relationship? And I, for one, hope that we get an explanation for that.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
But
we
what were your
need some
thoughts?
answers. We need answers. I just feel like they're both dumb.
Yeah.
Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it like earlier like seasons when Spencer wasn't feeling like to be in a relationship he wouldn't be in one? Like he would break it off. So then like what changed? Because he should have just like been single and just let that poor girl leave her alone and just hang with his dudes in the beach
Well, and the thing
house.
is, to your point, it's been very interesting because, you know, someone mentioned this. I don't know if I fully agree with this thought, like fully agree with this thought, but I think there's like a conversation to be had, is that when it comes to Olivia in particular, he just has this moment of pause because he loves her so much, where it's like with Layla, you know, she essentially broke up with him the first time that they broke up.
Mm-hmm.
Kia broke up with him obviously like prior to the show starting, and we saw it in flashbacks. And then the second time that he and Layla dated, essentially it was going to be a mutual breakup situation, but
Mm-hmm.
also like she broke up with him because she wanted to know sort of what happened in Vegas, even though he was about to break up with her, right?
Yeah.
In this same situation, flash forwarding to now, Alicia, right, had to be the one that's like physically packing. And he's just like, oh, oh, I guess Jamie moved in. Oh, you left really early. Like, why are you not just, for me, it was like, why are you could have just clean broken it off with this girl, even within this episode, like even within this episode,
Oh,
and you're
absolutely.
still waiting for them to sort of make that initial move to say like, I'm fed up at this point because you have these feelings for Olivia. It was literally like almost like a mirror of season 3. But I'd honestly say, I was like, at least, he cared a little bit about Layla. Like, he did not care about Alicia at all.
Mm. You could tell he's like, let me dance and show you how much I would
Literally.
feel for Olivia.
Literally, at least Spencer cared about Layla like as a friend, and you know what I mean. Like, but
Yeah, they
like
weren't even friends.
they weren't even friends. Like, that is insane. And then for Liv, like he was the one earlier in the seat. Like, he was the one that broke it off earlier. Like, she
Hmm.
said like, I want to stay together, and he's the one that said, I think that we should break up. So it's like, it's
Yeah.
because he loves her so much, he just approaches his situation with Olivia uh differently, but it ends up hurting, I think, more people in that process. And I think that he really has to examine sort of why that is. I think that they alluded to him doing work with Dr. Spears, and I
Mhm.
hope that they allude to him doing work with Dr. Spears as it relates to his romantic relationships, because it's that situation where he just like continues on relationships that he knows are not good, especially with he already knows about his feelings for Olivia. And
Yeah.
then it's also this idea where it's just like, I don't want Spencer and Olivia to jump into something new. Like, I want them to be together, don't get me wrong, but I don't want them to end up together before the season ends, because I don't know if Spencer can be alone. I
Oh my
do
God, I
not know
was
if Spencer
thinking
can
the
be alone.
same thing. He just hops from one relationship to another, to another, to another, goes back and forth.
And if it's not a relationship, it's
It's a
you
ship.
know, jump yeah, situationship and sex. Like, to be honest, like, what, you know, if he had let him kiss her the other day, even though like we acknowledge that he was in a very, very dark place, in a place
Mhm.
that he's not typically in, but we saw that happen again with Layla in Vegas. And but you thought the same thing about
Yeah.
Spencer being alone.
Yeah. Like as you were talking about it, I was just like thinking about like just like yeah, he just can't be alone. But I also think it has to do with his childhood and how he grew up,
Definitely.
and everything kind of always leaving him, so he wants a sense of security, even though he doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily like preach it. He like needs someone there for whatever hole they fill in his heart.
And it's like, you know, I honestly, this episode made me realize it's like, I think for Spencer, and audience, feel free to let me know if you have different thoughts and yours might be different than mine. But, you know, he's not going to let somebody who he feels like can
Mhm.
reject him first, which is why,
Oh.
you know, it's these like getting into, and I mean, they kind of sort of touched on it, you know, with him pushing people away in his grief episode. But I think this really, really manifests itself when he's in romantic situations, because you see him sort of staying in these sort of long term things with people up until they sort of decide like, okay, I'm done. Like we mentioned, like Layla, we mentioned Alicia, right? It's literally they are at the last of their rope. Like they are
Mhm.
walking out the door, and then he's like, oh yeah, now I've realized, right, either through the letters or through the dance or whatever it may be, um that I don't want to be in this situation anymore. But for
Yeah.
Liv, it was just like he was so scared that I think that she didn't need him, and that her, in his words, that her light dimmed around him, that he was just like, no, I'm going to break this off first
Yeah.
so that I don't get hurt.
Mhm.
So I can protect little Spencer, as in the words of Dr. Spears. But I
Yeah.
don't know if that's like, I don't think that's healthy. Let me say that. I don't think that's healthy. And I think that he needs to work on that before he gets into a relationship with Olivia again.
Yeah, because Olivia's very delicate. We have to consider the fact that she could at any point relapse, and like he has to understand like what that whole commitment looks like, because he's got to look at different factors of her and her growth as well, and what she needs at the end of the day.
Yeah. And like, even just as a person, like you know, beyond her addiction, you can't sort of separate her from her addiction, but thinking in addition to her addiction, her base level as a person,
Hmm.
to your point, for him, and we know it is Olivia because we know that they're going to end up together, that they're soulmates, that's so very clear, and that they love each other and are in love with each other. um But to your point, it's Olivia, it's whoever his romantic interests are, but it is Olivia, right? You have to consider the needs of that person in addition to little Spencer's needs.
Yeah. But I mean, like, he has to
that was that could be taken so many different ways.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But he has to work through his needs first and understanding what he needs.
Thanks for listening to Film Study and All-American Universe podcast, and stay tuned for our predictions.